Strength through will is how we can reverse the perversion of values that have been instilled in you, in me, and all our brethren, insidiously through generations of ancestral oppression. Though it stood with as much superhuman endurance as anyone could, it left a deep impression. Invisible scars that have caused us to devolve into a state of unconsciousness so malignant, we've nearly forgotten we're not a problem to be solved. We always been the solution they seek to dissolve, with the illusion of ties that bind us to a system that blinds, of most vicious design, which is to free no man. Only together, through sharing of wisdom, can we heal the wounds of division, forever sealing that evil incision, and finally deprogram.
Welcome to the Deprogram Show. I'm your host, RMJR. We got a very special guest in the building. If you know anything about Chattanooga sports, you better know who this man is. We got the one, the only, Coach Levar Brown. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, I'm good, my brother. You doing all right?
Man, I can't complain, man.
Good. I appreciate it. I should have recorded that intro, man. I don't get intro like that, too many times. I appreciate that, my brother.
Hey, man, no problem. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When you first got the job, I was kind of hard on you, man. I gotta be honest. And then I was like, I see what he doing. Cause a lot of people, it's hard to be a coach at Brainerd, Howard, and those places in China. Cause the alumni, I ain't even go to Brainerd, but me going to Howard, the coaching at them schools, man, it's tough. So I salute you just for that alone.
Man, I appreciate that. And you know, with the way that it began and the way that it started, following a legend like that, man, you expect that kind of stuff. And then coming into a program like a Brainerd, you know what I mean? Like you expect some criticism. You got to prove yourself, which is understood. So yeah, I welcomed it, man. I welcomed it.
So let's go into that.
Yes, sir.
Replacing the legendary Coach Robert High. When you got the call, man, what was going through your mind?
Let me fix it. Let me fix it.
Okay, fix it.
Because I don't think somebody like Robert High could be replaced. I don't.
That's
agree
true.
With that.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I don't agree with that at all. When I first got the position, I got interviewed by a newspaper, and they asked me a question. They came to the gym. They asked me a question like, how are you going to fill his shoes? And my response wasn't what was quoted in the paper. My response was, "There's no way I can fill his shoes." You talking about somebody been there over 40 years and had excelled in those 40 years and did a great job in those 4 years. I could not fill his shoes. But I got my own shoes. I got to try to walk on. So that's the take that I took on it. Luckily, I still had his support once we got going, and once he saw the vision as well. Man, at the time, I was just trying to keep our kids together because I was his assistant for 6 years. But before I became the head coach, and I wasn't the first choice to be the head coach. I wasn't the second choice. I wasn't the third. The principal at the time was really trying to find somebody else, and actually had me interviewing the guys that he was trying to bring in. But the way God saw it, none of those guys accepted the position, and it fell in my lap. So it was kind of like, I looked at it as, this is what God intended. This is what He wanted for me. So I accepted it. So I was not the first or second, third, or fourth choice for the position, but I'm glad I got it.
No problem. So let me ask you this. Let me correct myself. First of all, I didn't mean in the sense of replacing him, far as like replacing what he did, or I'm just saying stepping into that role when it was vacant. Because a lot of people be like, man, you think you can't replace him, and I don't think you can either. Especially for what he's done for not only Brainerd, but the city of Chattanooga.
Right. So to this day, he's the only state champion basketball coach. And he did it 3 times. So yeah, that's not going to be replaced. I probably ever.
Yeah. Coach had a legend. So walking in that building, you have already been in there, walking
Yes,
in, knowing that you got this heavy, a lot of people would say it's a burden, but you welcomed it with open arms. What was that team? I want to say the team you had Orlando Moore. I want to say Tipton was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all went to the state that year, right?
We lost.
Hold on. Y'all lost in the sub-state that first year.
Yeah,
correct?
We lost in the sub-state the first year. We think we went like 30-6 that first year. We lost to China 4 times that year. We lost one game in a Thanksgiving tournament, and then we lost the sub-state game. Yeah. So we went 30-6 that year.
So let's go into this before we tap into that.
Yes, sir.
What goes into the preparation of a basketball season? Like before the season, because a lot of people don't know the ins and the outs. They think, oh man, you just show up, it's just time to coach.
Right. Well, are you specifically asking for that season or just a typical season?
A typical season. Okay,
typical season. Like right now, we're conditioned. Our guys have to get stronger. They have to get faster. They have to get in shape to play the style of basketball that's winning basketball for our area and to compete at the state level. We have to be physically stronger, mentally stronger, and be in good shape. So right now it's conditioning season. So conditioning on the court, on and off the court, and in fundraising. That's the next biggest component, especially coming into a season after we just had with the COVID and losing money at the gate and all that kind of stuff. So going into a year like now is pretty much heavy on fundraising.
So speaking on the COVID thing, are the guys kind of cautious about are we gonna play, stuff like that?
Last year they were. Last year was a real concern where we gonna be able to get through a season, which we kind of did. We kind of stumbled through a season last year. We were only allowed to play district games and things of that nature. A lot of cancellations due to COVID. This year is a lot worse, man, because whatever this variant is, it's attacking our kids. So last year we didn't have any kids with positive cases. So this year we're having to deal with that now a lot more than what we had last year. So last year was definitely a frustration with not knowing what tomorrow will bring, not knowing if the team you're competing against are going to be allowed to play. Then trying to do it with no fans in the gym, like it's just a difficult time, man. These boys like playing in front of their family, and they couldn't do it last year.
Yeah. So getting prepared for a season, you said fundraising.
Yes, sir.
Strength and conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to that first season, if you can remember. What was the temperature of the team going into the seasons, knowing that okay, we got to do this, Coach High. What happened? So what was the mind frame, would be a better word, of the team at that time going into the season?
Okay, so I was very fortunate with the guys because most of them were playing JV for me anyway. Before the decision was made, it was really difficult because a lot of the guys didn't want to stay, not knowing who the coach was going to be and things of that nature. So, you got a couple of vultures in our city. We had some really good guys on that team. So they, other schools were calling. So once we got past that, once the decision was made, it was pretty much, let's get back to it and let's prove that we can do it. We felt like we had unfinished business. We had a really good team coming back, mostly seniors. So we were excited about the opportunity, but it was taking on the attitude of let's prove people wrong. Let's prove people wrong. Let's prove that we can get it done. And I felt good about it after the season. We did extremely well. But our focus had to change after that, though.
Yeah. So change in focus after that season. You came up. Did y'all lose by 2 points? I'm thinking
No, we lost by 5 points in that sub-state game.
I knew it was real close.
Yeah.
Y'all had to travel, dealing with some. Let me say this for a lot of people who don't know. When you gotta go travel, coming out of Chattanooga to go play, to go to the sub-state, I'ma say it for you so they won't, so the TSAA won't give you no hard time.
Thank you.
Hey man, you gotta play against the team, the crowd, and a lot of times the referees. I said so y'all don't charge it to my brother head.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, and in games like that, your best players got to show up. They have to show up, and at that time, our best players didn't have their best game. I believe our top 2 leading scorers left that gym with 5 points total, and we lost by 5. So it was definitely a situation where we learned from it, and we had to realize that we definitely didn't want to be in that position again. So the next few years, we only had to travel once over the next few years. So we definitely learned from that experience.
So going into the next year, y'all have an even better year going into the next year.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. I want to, because I go to the state every year. Let me see. So that would have been Orlando's senior year, the year we just spoke on, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next year, I don't know if you remember the record, but I know y'all had a pretty great team that year.
We did. We did extremely well. That second year was Tipton's senior year.
It was him, one of him, Davy. Who else?
So him, David Moore, and Miles Cothran were the seniors that year, and we did well. We gave the ball over to my guy Kentrell Evans, Duke. He was a
shout out Duke. He was at the point.
Yeah, he was at the point, and he controlled the show, man. And he did a really good job doing it. Led us to the state. We lost in the first round of the state to the eventual champions that year.
Was that CPA?
Yeah, it was CPA. We lost to Braxton Miller and Tiger Campbell.
Yeah, Braxton. At that time, I think his name was Braxton Blackwell. He changed it. He changed it to Braxton Key.
Yeah. Well, he changed it twice. Actually, he changed it twice.
So now something else.
Well, before it was Key, it was something else.
It was Blackwell.
After that, it was like Miller or something to that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what's up with that guy, but yeah, he changed it a couple times.
Yeah, because I think he won, correct me if I'm wrong, he won Mr. Basketball that year.
He did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So y'all playing against basically 2 D1 players.
Definitely. They tried to say Tiger was in the 8th grade at the time, man, but he looked about older than me out there, man. And he could really hoop. So yeah, they gave it to us pretty good that day.
So before we go into that, let's talk about the competition on a regular basis in the district. I know the district has changed a little bit.
It has.
But you, on a normal basis, y'all play your Howards, you play your Tiners, you got Central, East Ridge. Who am I leaving out?
Red Bank.
Can't forget about Red Bank.
Yeah.
So y'all, am I tripping, or do y'all have one of the toughest districts, or had, I know the district in the state of Tennessee?
I don't know if I would say the state.
I mean, one of them. I ain't saying.
No, yeah, definitely one of them. Because West Tennessee is tough all across the board.
Yeah. That's why I said one of the toughest.
Yeah, but definitely East, outside of West Tennessee, Memphis area, definitely we had the toughest district for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Definitely. All of our competition is pretty much equal. As as far as their skill set and their ability, man. So. And then they can't get past being friends to actually get out there and compete for real. But yeah, it's definitely tough, man. I call Tyner Howard, sometimes Red Bank, sometimes Central, the Bermuda Triangle, man. Because if you can get through there, you can make some noise in Murfreesboro.
Yeah,
definitely.
So let's see, y'all go. speaking of making some noise in Murfreesboro, y'all go up there. Well, y'all missed 1 year. Orlando's that was his senior
year.
Then the year after that, y'all go to the first round.
Yes, sir.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. That next year was a very special year.
Man, don't make me cry on this interview, man.
Hey,
I still so that next year was when we felt like everything was, for the first time, it was we were where we wanted to be. We made it to state finals, and we were extremely excited about it, man. And if I'm being totally honest with you, which I try to be honest all the time, going into that game, you couldn't tell me we weren't going to leave with the gold ball. And that was probably our downfall. Like we knew we were going to win the gold ball that day. With everything that transpired throughout the season, on and off the court, we really felt good about that day, about that game, about that season, and just came up a little short.
Man, you know what's crazy, man, about that year? I felt like that year, it should have been. I mean, we can't go back and. But
I already know what you're finna say.
I'm gonna say it. I'm like, yeah, y'all weren't playing in the game that I'm finna speak of, but you gonna know. Mm-hmm. So I get my tickets every year for state. So I'm looking at the competition. I say, hey, it should be, and it very well should have been, Chattanooga Central versus Chattanooga Brainerd in the state championship game.
You are absolutely right.
Because I'm looking at it. Take no credit away from the team who did win it, Knoxville Fulton. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, looking at the competition and even the playing of the game, I'm like, bro, ain't no way. Somebody from Chat got to win something.
Yeah. So that day was weird, and of course, we found out more about it as it transpired. But it definitely should have been a Chattanooga final. I still mess with they old Coach Rogers about it. I would have beat him. I tell him all the time we would have beat him because he beat us 2 times that season already, and then we beat them in the tournament. But I respect those guys. They did a good job. But it definitely should have been a Chattanooga final. But that Fulton team, man, they had a why that year. They really had a focus, and they really had a purpose for why they were playing. They had lost a teammate, I think maybe 2, going into the season. He got murdered.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they were really, really, really focused on the task. So yeah, they just beat us off total grind that day. Man, you made me tear up on him, man. That should have been a goal, man. But I'm glad we got blessed. We got blessed that year.
Cause one thing y'all did, and I don't know, y'all the only team in a recent 10 years. I know at least 10 years to bring even a run up back here.
Yes, sir. Now don't quote me on this.
I'm just talking about basketball.
I know. So yeah, I was going to say I believe that Brainerd is the only school that has a ball. The only public school that has a ball, either gold or silver. So
in TSAA or period.
In Chattanooga and TSSAA.
Okay.
Now I don't know what it was before that, but I've heard of Howard championships, but I don't know. I'm not old enough to know that part of the history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have heard that Howard maybe won some. Riverside's no longer open, and schools like that. But schools that are currently open, I believe Brainerd is the only program.
Yeah, as far as, and we talking about basketball.
Yes, sir. Basketball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cause man, I'm looking at. I mess with Tay all the time.
Oh man.
So I'm sitting. I got my little reserve seats. And during the game, y'all, I think it was the 4th quarter, I'm noticing the transition of the game. I'm like, man, all they gotta do, this me. You know how people, I'm one of them spectators, everybody do it. Man, all they gotta do is do this. Because I felt like once y'all was in man, they couldn't do nothing.
Right.
So I even asked Tay, I said, bro, why y'all just didn't go man? And he was like, man, I tried to tell him, but I was like, bro, I understand you got to do what your coach say do.
Yeah.
And you got to live with it, because to even be there is an accomplishment in itself.
Right. So the funny thing you mentioned Tay, because when I think about that game, I always think about him. By far one of my most favorite kids that I've coached ever. I love that boy to this day. But going into that game, and I don't know if you like, sometimes I go back and watch it. Took me a while to go back and watch it, but once I went back and watched it, I noticed every time, like Tay was bawling, crying during the introductions of the starters. So I already knew that his mind was like, it was there in the moment, but it wasn't in the emotional state he needed to be to be the dog that he was that year. Tay was player of the year that year for our city, and should have been Mr. Basketball. But that man was bawling, crying, and I joke with him about it all the time, man. Like you kind of like, I'm talking about snot, everything. Like he was bawling, crying, man. So when you talk to him next time, remind him of that. Like he was a big crybaby before the game, state championship game.
Yeah. So like, cause it seemed like y'all only missed in the last few years. Y'all ain't missed nothing but maybe three states. I know it ain't been no more than 4.
No, it hadn't been more than 4. Of course, we missed this past season. We missed the season where Austin East took us out, literally. And then probably one other season. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe 3. Yeah, 3, maybe 4.
Cause I'm looking at, I'm like, cause I ain't gonna lie, the year, was that the next year with the Austin East or the year after that?
It was the year after that. So after we lost in the finals, we went back that next year. That was Duke's senior year. So when we lost in the finals, that was Tay-Tay's senior year.
Yeah.
So we went back the following year with Duke senior year. We lost in the second round that year. And then after that is when the Austin East situation happened.
So that year, the year with the Austin East, that was Jesse Walker's senior year.
That was, yes, sir. Jesse Walker and Malik Hampton were the seniors that year.
Because a lot of people don't, like when we talk about great players, a lot of people fail to mention Jesse Walker, but I have to tell them, hey, let's look at this for what it is. The man in the last 10 years in Chattanooga, he got a runner, he helped on the team get the runner-up trophy. He was a very intricate part in that. And he also, correct me if I'm wrong, was a finalist for the Mr. Basketball Award.
He was a finalist for Mr. Basketball. I think the last finalist that we had in public school, definitely, for the Chattanooga area. And I hate that for him because, man, he a great kid, man. Like he's a great person. And he doesn't get the recognition because he wasn't flashy. He wasn't a guard. Chattanooga is a guard city. A lot of his was just, getting the ball, going up and scoring. So he doesn't get the recognition that some get, but he definitely should have got that. If that not had happened, he would have broke the Brainerd scoring record held by Harris. He was 8 points away.
Wow.
Before that happened, and in hindsight, I sat him 2 games after that situation happened with Austin East. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have. But you live and you learn.
So you give me some history. So Harris Walker is the all-time leading scorer at Brainerd.
Yes, sir. 1,927 points.
And you telling me at Brainerd High School, the historic Brainerd High School in basketball, Jesse Walker is right behind Harris?
Jesse Walker was 8 points away.
Wow.
I mean, it's hard to believe.
I mean,
Yeah.
it ain't for me because I seen the work he put in.
Yeah, but I'm saying, because he wasn't flash, hair's in your face, like literally. And so you look up and Jesse got 36 points and you don't even remember him like doing that. So yeah. So he's 8 points shy.
So let's kind of switch gears because we kind of tapped on the sports.
Okay.
Building relationships and coaching and teaching in the inner city schools. A lot of people don't understand that that's a very tough task.
Yes, sir.
Because you might deal with somebody who, let's be real, they might not have no sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
They might be living in a neighborhood where they shooting. They might not even had nothing to eat that morning.
Mm-hmm.
So tell the people what's intricate in building relationships with these young men, because one thing I do know, because I've built my own individual relationships with Tay, Orlando, Davy, I know you are a very intricate part in their life, even to this day.
I appreciate that. So coming into the situation that I came into, so I've been teaching in the inner city school for this is year 19 for me.
Salute to you on that.
I appreciate you, my brother. So just being realistic, you know that some of these kids don't have what we had coming up. They don't have the relationships, they don't have the resources. And instead of harping on that, and this is gonna be hard for me to talk about because my personal mantra is help somebody without telling everybody. So when you engage and meet kids like that, I can only be myself. So people were expecting me to be a certain way, and that's just not me. That's not my character. I really feel like the success that we had as a school, the success we had as a program, basketball program, is because they know I care for real. Like I'm not caring so I can put it on social media to say I did X, Y, and Z. They know I care for real. If I'm being totally honest, it's 3 guys in the next room over here there because they needed to eat today. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the relationship piece for me is probably the most important. On day one, as soon as I announced the roster, they coming in knowing that my focus as a head coach is what they're going to do when that ball stop bouncing, because it's going to stop bouncing for all of us. So what we're building is a plan for when that happens. If that requires us to go to school, if that requires us to get a job, like we need to be prepared for when that ball is no longer bouncing. So I do still stay engaged. I used to get criticized for it, man. I've had a couple of parents upset with me because I'm posting, hey, here, look at my son. And that was weird to me, man. Like I had a couple of parents upset that I'm calling, of course, their child my son. But that's how I look at them. I mean, you with me sometimes 10, 12 hours a day from 7 to 7, 7 to 9, 7 to 10 at night. I have to look at them like that so they can get the proper care that they need. If you're entrusting me with your child, then I'm going to treat them like they mine. So that's the most important thing. And you know what? The guys that you named earlier, Baby James does a great job with relationship building. EJ does a great job with relationship building. That's something that I feel good about. Stephen Cook does a great job, man. I had some great guys those early years, and we wanted to make it family. Families fight, family argue, family do all this, but we supported each other. So if the guys were playing in the AAU game, we made sure we all went together. Like, we're going to be together. If the guys had a birthday, like, we're going to celebrate the birthday together. So that piece of it was major for me, man, because I don't think we can get what we got out of them if the relationship wasn't there. Those guys exceeded their expectations and ours because they cared that we cared.
So being that what went into, because I know Y'all, see, you correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all was the first people to bring the we over me to this area.
Okay. Yes, we were. And it's kind of twofold. We did We Over Me and we did the Bamboo Boys. So trying to figure out how to say this without being disrespectful. Because the We Over Me started disrespectfully, if I'm being totally honest.
It did?
It did. It did.
I ain't know that.
So We Over Me started because we wanted to make sure the focus of the program was not on, it was focused on the family. Okay. All right. It's about us. So you hear coaches and you hear people talk about play for the name on the front of the jersey, not the back. So that's where We Over Me came from. So that's the most respectful way I could say it. Play for Brainerd, play for Chattanooga, play for whoever you playing for. Make that the focus. Remove yourself from it. Do something bigger than you. And that was the goal. That's where We Over Me came from. It was about family. It was about family.
Okay. So it seemed like they embraced it, because one thing I noticed, and I hope y'all still do it, when they used to announce the starting lineups, no matter what level y'all was on, whether it was the state, whether it was the district, whether it was just a regular game, no matter who name was called, nobody came out until the last person was called. So right. So everybody was still unified, even when individuals' names was called. And I thought that was major. And that's why I say I hope that's still going on, because that teach a brotherhood like no other.
Yeah, that is definitely still going on. And I will, again, I'm being totally honest, my boys last year, they were mostly sophomores last year. They didn't understand it. Like they still had the mentality, I want to hear my name. I want to run out and get my little shine. But it's not about that. So if you're really paying attention, like we sit there and we lock arms, and we're gonna come out of here together. We're gonna run out together, because it's about us. Yeah, you can hear your name being announced, but it's about us. The only time that we could not do it, and I actually got fined for it, which is crazy, was the state tournament. We messed up how they want their broadcast to be shown.
Hold on. I gotta ask this. So you mean to tell me when y'all did it at the state, they fined y'all?
They fined me.
They fined you?
They fined me because when you get there, you're told exactly, how things will go. And you're told why it goes like that. And I understood it. They want to announce everybody first, and then they announce the starters. And in that game, they alternate, one from each team. So it looks better for TV. And that's not how we did things. We came out together. So yeah, I received a small little fine for wanting to do it our way.
So so you telling me teaching unity got you fined? That's the only way I can look at it. I don't know no other way to look at it. I know people want to make it look good, but
yeah.
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network.
I'm sorry.
You might want to check the connection.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah, so yeah, we but it was okay. I mean, we did, once they understood it, it was okay.
Yeah. So I guess kind of tapping into it, I don't want to go too deep because this is a kind of touchy subject. Y'all lost a member of y'all brotherhood, a member of that championship team. And I can't interview you without at least acknowledging, because he was a great young man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to go into what happened. But correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Jordan Chapman, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how did that, because y'all got a brotherhood, how did you band the brothers together in that time? Because that was a tough time, man. Because I know some of his family members and all that.
Mm-hmm. So it was tough. It was it's still tough. Because he was a great kid, and his grandfather was very much in support of us as well. And we lost him the year prior.
Yeah, Mr. Al Chapman.
Yes, sir. So we still talk about it. On his anniversary, we went to the site and, you know, sat with him for a while as a family. I still reach out to his mom and his little brother. So we still stay connected. Because like I said, this is about beyond those 4 years that you're there with me. So it was tough. The guys that were closer to him still struggle with, because he was the kid that everybody looked at as having it all. You know, coming from, you know, his lifestyle and his family, taking good care of him. So he was the poster child for. I wanted to be that. I want my lifestyle to be like that. So it is still a touchy subject with some of the guys. But so yeah, we you know, for his birthday, we went out to Chili's and celebrated his birthday, and of course we went out to the site on the anniversary of the date. So yeah, that was really tough, man. And he actually did not finish his senior year playing. Because of what happened to his grandfather and things like that. He had a different focus, and we understood that. Like I said, because it was beyond basketball, but it's still really tough, if I'm being totally honest with
you. Yeah, and like again, I didn't want to be, you know what I'm saying, disrespectful, but you gotta show respect without being disrespectful, and you know what I'm saying, he had to be mentioned.
Yes, man.
I
appreciate that.
Cause he was a great young man, come from a great family. So I salute the family, and still praying for him to this day. I know a couple of his family members I still talk to almost every day.
Okay.
So,
That's great. That's great.
So man, what's the hardest thing being in the inner city as a teacher, then as a coach?
I mean, it's a lot. I really think you have to be built for this, because these kids and their situations can really weigh on you. I'm very thankful to have the type of wife and family that I have, because when you care for real, you bring it home.
Yeah.
You bring it home. You bring them home. You bring their situations home. You bring their stresses home with you, and you wear it. You can see it. But it is it's tough, but it's rewarding. It's very rewarding when you get a Tay-Tay, go off to school and they graduate and they come back and they want to give back to the city, and they still reach out to you. The reward is definitely worth the stresses, by far. And you do have some, and me and EJ talk about this all the time, and he tell me all the time, man, you can't save them all. And I try, and I try my damnedest to do that. So that is the frustrating piece, that life will still intervene. Life will still take hold when you think you've poured in enough. Sometimes it don't feel like enough. But it's very tough, man. I think anybody coming into this profession, coming into coaching, needs to have some patience, definitely, and needs to have some sense of where our kids are from, and what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, because some of these stories, man, like they'll take you out. I mean, I know but they'll, if you're not strong enough mentally, man, these people will take you out, like, for real.
Yeah, because you got to be as a coach, you got to be a father, you
Yes,
got to
sir.
be a counselor, you got to be a pastor, you got to
You
be
do.
all that.
You
So
do. If you are in it for the right reasons, if you are truly trying to build character outside of winning some basketball games, then yeah, you got to be all that. Some of us don't do that. And that's just totally 100. Like some of us, are about either getting the check, which the check ain't worth it, or just winning some games. And that's unfortunate for some of our kids.
okay. So let me ask you this: do you think? Because I've been working on something, I reveal it to you.
All right.
A lot of dudes, it's a rough transition when you go from a star basketball player to say you go to a JUCO or you go to a university and it just don't pan out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on something to where the guys who kind of linger in the middle, well, they been ending up, I got to keep this real, they just been ending up in the streets.
Yes, sir.
And the reason that is because if I'm used to being a man, I'm going to gravitate to something that's going to keep me being a man.
Mm-hmm.
And in that little gap, the thing that they feel like keep them being a man is the streets.
You're right.
So what thing do you think, not only myself, but others could help guys in those situations who are in the transition phase, whether they got hurt, whether they just dealing with life, to keep them, okay, man, I know you was at this stage. How do we keep them away from the streets? I know it's their choice ultimately.
It is.
But how do we combat that? Because we got to put something in place, because honestly, man, I'm sick of seeing as many dudes as I know. I see them in high school, and by 25 they dead. I just gotta keep it real.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's important for us to stay involved. It's like you mentioned earlier, like firsthand that right now I'll call Orlando or Davi or Tip or whoever, like, what the hell you doing? Like what's going on? So I think that's the biggest piece, staying involved, staying engaged, because college ain't for everybody.
No, it's not.
I do want them to all get the experience, like, get away from mama for a little minute. Man, I've sent kids to South Dakota. He came back in 2 months, but you got that experience. You're away from mama. You realize what life was, and you realize that you had to refocus. So staying engaged, giving them opportunities, I think that's really important, because that fast money is attractive. So I think them having opportunities to connect. One thing that I've found to be useful is putting them in positions to where they have to now mentor. So bringing them around. So sometimes I get criticized, man. If you played at Brainerd and you want to come and work out with the kids or coach the kids, like, I have 50 coaches over there on the sideline. If that's gonna bring you in the gym to keep you off the street or keep you away, keep you engaged. Sometimes when you got somebody looking up to you, you tend to walk a little different. And that's what I talk to the boys about. Like, watch how you walking, because somebody watching.
Yeah.
So pair them up with a little mentor, a little younger kid. So you gotta walk a little different. You gotta pull your pants up, so to speak, and walk right. So I think staying engaged, giving them responsibilities, giving them an opportunity to continue to grow in whatever area they want to grow in, and just making sure that they have those resources to get to. And man, stay on it. I stay on the neck, man. I stay on the neck, and it really, it pains me. It hurts me when the streets still get you. But I would rather it pain me for me trying than me just, what, you done playing, I appreciate you. Like, nah, that ain't what that's not going to be, you know, beneficial to any of us.
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't understand, like, in growing up, you can only get it from what you experience. And some parents, they hide their experiences from their children.
Definitely.
And that hurts the child because, let's be honest, you have these tendencies you don't really touch on with your child, then your child lean toward that, and you don't even say, hey, I understand this, because you ashamed to tell them, hey, you going through this because they say genetics, but I truly believe just studying it, it's a spiritual thing, and it connects through the DNA far as like at the point of birth.
Right.
Because I'm looking at like wherever you was at the creation of your child, just look at your child, and that be they struggle, even though okay, you done grew since then, and you be like, man, why is they? Go back and look at, because it's a spiritual transference when a child is born. People don't recognize. So if you were gone in the head when you made your child, and your child be in left field, that's why. Yeah. So you have an uphill battle, and a lot of people.
It's funny you say that. I had this conversation last night at the football game, man. You know, because beyond basketball, beyond my boys in basketball, I love our kids. I love Brandon kids, all of our kids. I try to make a relationship with all of them. So all the boys are my sons, all the girls are my daughters. So I was talking with one of my daughters last night, man, and her son is playing football. So I'm now of that age. Now I'm watching or coaching my kids. And that's weird to see. So she was, talking about her son doing X, Y, and Z. And I had to remind her, you did that same thing now. Like, I can remember when you were 15. You know what I mean? So to your point, that you're absolutely right. So we got to share those experiences. I've been 15 before, so I know what you're doing. The only difference is this thing right here for me. Like, I don't know how old you are, but that's the only difference in life for me. Is everything's on that phone, everything's on social media. But we did all that stuff that you're doing. Yeah.
So the social media thing, like I'm looking at it, especially in the inner city, we lose the ability to connect because, oh man, you could have a room full of people and everybody on their phone.
Yes, sir.
No dialogue and all that. And they be like, man, to get through to them, you got to text them. And they right there in the room. Yeah. And their ability to communicate is struggling because of these phones. Like just having a conversation, they don't know how to do it. Like right now, they even starting to talk the way they text. Saying LOL. Like, man, just say I'm laughing. Like you can't laugh. Just bust out laughing. Right. So, yeah, you're right, man. Social media is I think it's beneficial in some areas, but it's definitely hurting the way that we communicate and the way that we build relationships. Definitely. And what's crazy, you look at now we in what's called the social distancing thing. But we were social distancing before then. Cause when you came, I be thinking, I'm like, hold up. How am I physically in your presence, but we social distancing? Right. Now, let's look at it for what it is. When you on this internet, when you on this social apparatus, that's when you socially distance. You could be in your box, you could act like you somebody else. And it's like, man, come on, man. Right. So I'm constantly amazed with what I see these young people do now. Like, for example, like they would literally just sit on the phone on FaceTime and not be talking. So I'm if I'm lying, I'm flying. Your kids, not my kids, your kids will sit on the phone and just be on the phone. Like I have constant conversations with the kids at the school. Like they're not allowed to hang up the phone. Like we're not talking.
but we can't get off the phone. My boyfriend want me on the phone. My girlfriend want me on the phone, and I can't hang it up. I said, well, what you do when you go to sleep? We just lay the phone down. We
So
stay
hold
on.
up.
Nah, it's weird. It's the weirdest thing in the world, my
So
brother.
so you speaking in, okay, say a young lady and a young man in a relationship, and they ain't talking to each other, but they on FaceTime just basically to see what the other one is doing.
Basically, and anybody that's watching this interview that has kids know exactly what I'm talking about. They was just sit on the phone, man, and just hold the phone. You're not talking. They're not talking to each other. So going to your point about social distancing, they doing it and they on the phone. Like, you're not talking, you're not communicating. So just hang up the phone. Like you'll be amazed how they just walking around, people on FaceTime all day, not talking.
Man, I got this thing. It's called the lollipoptendencies. I didn't want to go into that, but I'm gonna go into it.
That's cool.
All right, check this out. To you, young men, because men set the standards. Okay. Listen, man, you can't watch that woman 24 hours a day, bro. I'm talking to the fellas. Cause listen, what you doing? You pushing her away. You making her a prisoner, bro. 24 hours. You on FaceTime all day long. Listen, I'm gonna give y'all the new lollipop tendency. Any man who want his woman on FaceTime or to be on the phone for a 24-hour period has lollipop tendencies. So young men, I'm gonna give y'all some grace because y'all young, but cut that out, man.
Man. Let me tell you this, bro. If they watch this interview, they gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say his name.
Okay.
But there is a basketball player that when he's working out, not at basketball practice, but when he's working out in the gym, he sits his phone up against the wall and she on FaceTime for 2 hours. Just sitting.
So I want to help him a little bit. Is that his idea or her idea?
Ain't neither one of them hanging up the phone, bro. So I'm saying it's both. I'm telling him what to do. We doing drills or whatnot, and I'm thinking he recording himself. I go over to the phone, and she just sitting there just to watch, not talking, not 2 hours. You just watch him work out on the phone.
He got a 5 battery life.
Right. You're right, man. It just amazes me, man. These phones have taken complete control of us, but them more so, because at least we know how to communicate. At least we know how to talk on the phone.
And see, man, I want to say this to the people, man. One of the reasons why I came up with the lollipop tendencies is not really I said tendency because you could shake a tendency.
Okay.
It's time for men to be men, bro. Because what we having, bro, you got, once you have issues to where you can't keep your emotions in check, you end up acting in a sense like a woman. Because if you got your issue, you don't have your issues in check, you get into it with another dude or another woman now, and you don't know how to separate, okay, this ain't that bad, or I don't have to do this, or you understand, hey, we can have a conversation to where, okay, it don't have to lead to somebody losing their life.
Definitely. So can I interject with a question, brother?
Go ahead.
Do you think that's our fault? So when you say stuff like that, like sometimes I look at it like, man, this my fault as a black male, as a husband, as a father. Like, where are they getting these lollipop tendencies from if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Okay. Where do you think it come from?
I gotta be honest with you, man, because I've been researching it, and I even went to my mother, and my mother gave me, she kept it all the way real, because I was gonna really, I think I might have said this before, I was gonna go after the older men, But my mama, she told me, she said, son, they didn't have their fathers. Their fathers was out doing their thing. So it do fall on us. I'm going to say, as a black man, we got to bear the burden. So that's why I've been taking a lot of heat. And it's cool because my whole motive is, look, let's get men back to being men. Now you got men, they finna really get mad at this.
And because of my, I know what you finna say. Because of my position, I gotta zip my lip.
Okay, I'm finna say this even with men.
For me.
Listen, women can't even go to the nail salon. They can't even go get their hand and their feet done because y'all taking up the space. There used to be a spot where women wanted what they call it, me time. They can't even have me time because y'all in there. Listen, man, this me. If you can't get together with a bunch of dudes and go there, for the most part, bro, stay out of that, man. Let them women have their time, man. Y'all, these dudes, I done seen dudes posting their feet where they got the little things between they. Come on, bro. Look, if that what you on, that what you on. But hey, we gotta look, man. We already in this culture where they wearing these skinny jeans. Now we going to the nail salon more and just as much as the women. I'm like, come on, bro. What are we doing? Hey, man, this is you ain't gotta say nothing.
Let me know when I can unzip.
This the Deprogram Show, so I gotta let y'all know what the programming is, bro. Come on, man, what we doing? And I had a dude. He said, bro, I be going. I said, look, man, I ain't saying. Let me say this. I ain't saying don't take care of your feet,
right,
or your hands. That ain't what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm telling you is, let them women have their spot, man. That ain't for you. Let them women have their spot, man. They can't even have their girl talk because y'all in there. What y'all doing? What are we doing, man? Get mad at me. RMJR, Roland McClendon Jr.
Yeah, get mad at him. Get mad at him.
I'll take it, bro. I'm going to say it because, bro, look. You got these women, look at these young girls. Because all right, I'm looking, I'm like, you got these women, they get with these dudes don't work. They lay up off on them. Then they be so insecure, they want to know where the woman at all the time. Because what they don't want another man to get what they got or another boy. Because you could be a 25, 30-year-old boy.
Definitely.
I'm talking about let's get back to being men, bro. That's all I'm saying. You can get mad, but if I'm lying, I got this saying. If I'm lying, I'll shut up. Tell me what I lied about. We wearing jeans with hope. Now, listen, we got women. You see women walk down the street, they got their tight jeans on, they got the holes. Man, look, bro, you can't, it's not cool. That's not manly. Get mad at me. It's not manly for you to walk around with the same jeans, basically, that your woman got. Come on, bro. We got to get, because this what's happening. If the men don't set the standard, that's what's wrong with our culture, man.
It is.
We can't have conversations and say, all right, this is an issue. We got to get back to thinking. What's wrong with thinking?
You're right.
What's wrong with it?
You're absolutely right. That is a frustration. You know, I have a 17-year-old son, and we had those conversations, man. Like, you know, that ain't how. You know, I understand the fashion. Hey, we had some crazy fashions when we were coming up. It wasn't nothing like this. I mean, we wore clothes backwards. You know what I mean? We wore overalls with spray paint on them. Like, yeah, I get it. I get fashion, but like, come on, man. Like, even going back to basketball, like the way these guys want to wear these little shorts, man, roll it all up, man. That, man, I promise, man, I hate it, man. I hate it.
Man, listen, check this out. I was coaching AAU a few years ago. Me, G Long, and my homeboy Mark Thomas.
Okay.
I'm like, bruh, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now it look like the basketball shorts look like Daisy Dukes. What they doing, man? You know, y'all do know they got long shorts, man.
Right.
They do make them.
So there's about, at least there's at least about, because Coach High did a really good job at this, keeping the boys outfitted. Man, there's about 7 uniforms that we can't wear, like that are great uniforms. We can't wear them because these dudes want little bitty tights, man. Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But yeah, to your point, yeah.
We gotta get back to being.
Gotta get back.
I mean, I'm gonna ask you this that hopefully won't get you in too much trouble. Is it anything wrong for a man to set a standard for the young male to walk into being a man?
Not at all. Not at all. And that was one of the things that I wanted to continue to do when I got the program and build upon that. Like I wanted to make sure that the boys were around a husband, a father, bringing in somebody like Ladarius Price, man. Like, yeah, you need to see that. You need to see what that looked like. You need to get that experience, whether they was getting it at home or they weren't. Like, this is how we were gonna walk. This is how we were gonna look. So no, to answer your question, no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, because like I said, I think we all need to do it a little bit more. They need to see it. They need to see it. I mean, I can't rely on little baby or NBA young boy to raise my son. If I do that, I'm setting my son up for failure. That's the way I look at it. He got to be able to see something different.
And see, the reason I'm so hard, I'm a man, this is how I look at it. I have a daughter. My job, okay, I'm teaching my daughter to be your goal. And see, a lot of women they gonna get mad when I say this. Look, my job is to be a husband, teach my daughter, hey, your duty is to grow up and know how to maintain a home. If you want to do other things, cool, but you gotta marriage. You gotta learn how to be submissive. But I have to show hey, bro, because I'm old school. I tell my daughters, I got 2 daughters, look, don't bring no dude to me and ask me to give you away to no dude, and he's sorry.
Right.
I shouldn't have to come over your house if you got a man and take the trash out. I shouldn't have to come over your house and wash your car. I shouldn't have to do none of that. If a man there, first of all, you should be married. Let me clarify that. That's me. I'm speaking. Then you shouldn't have to call nobody. Hey, I need this. I need because this is the thing. The father is to show the daughter this is what a man look like.
I agree.
So when I hand my daughter's hand off in marriage, I don't know if men know this, but you are signing off to their husband. And this me. I do not care who get mad, but I'm not signing my daughter off to no sorry dude. She could get mad. I told her, your job is to be attracted to him. My job is to make sure he's a man and he's capable up here. That's my job. Yeah.
Yeah. So I you know what? I agree with that. I also have a daughter too. I have a 17-year-old son. I got a 12-year-old daughter. And people that know me know that my daughter is just about everything to me. I say just about because my wife supersedes all that. But with my daughter, to your point, like it is our responsibility to show them what it's supposed to look like, how they're supposed to be loved. And that's how I look at it. My daughter's 12, she's 7th grade. And, she's getting to that age where boys are, trying to talk to her and all that other kind of stuff. And it's stressing me out. She putting on lip gloss and all that stuff. I know you experienced that too. But she needs to know what the expectation is. And she can only know that from me. and you know, translating it to my son and the kids that I serve at the school. I treat them. I literally treat them all like my children. I had a conversation yesterday. I tell you know to what you just said about being married. I told my kids yesterday, you know, there's no in between. You either married or you single. So they was like, what about my boyfriend I've been with for 2 years? You single. So, you know, we had that conversation. Of course, they know more than me. I ain't never been 15, 16, 17 before. But you're absolutely right. We have to be the example, especially with daughters, man, because, you know, and I tell the girls at Brandon all the time, like, you need to understand what kind of power you got for real. Because dudes won't be walking around sagging and pants pulled down or doing the things they do if a woman just said, you know what, I don't want that in my life. Like we talk a whole bunch of junk, but we conform for what we want. You know what I mean?
But see, think about this though. I'm gonna interject by saying that's really part of the problem. Think about this. Watch this. If I'm setting a standard, because if the woman set the standard, guess what happens? What she says goes.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
So if she want a thug and you want to be with her, you gonna go be a thug. That's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
If she wants you to go sell dope, cause she want to be with that guy in the streets. That what we doing? But see, if I'm setting a standard, hey, bro, and even with my woman, look, this what I'm on. That what kind of life you want to live? You might be fine, but you ain't that fine. I'm sorry.
Right. So with that, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think we set the standard, but I think the woman sets the limit. So, you know, like what you just said, if the woman wanted a thug, then that's the level that we gonna get to, and because we want that woman, because she set the limit. So I think with our daughters, if we teaching them what the standard is and what they should tolerate, then that what they gonna tolerate should at least reach our standards. Because you know, I mean, being honest, no guy is ever gonna reach what you want for your dog. No guy is ever gonna reach what I want for my dog.
I understand that, but see, this the thing. I ain't even telling you to be me. I ain't saying that.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Okay. It's a proven method. And this is what men got to realize. Women date men like they fathers. I
agree.
And people, it's no, okay, even if they father ain't there, and we talking about biologically. If your biological father in and out your life, your boyfriend or your husband is going to be in and out your life, and you going to think that's acceptable. If your father is a stand-up dude and he on this, and this, that's what you're going to look for in a man. And it's the same way with women. Men listen, if you a thought, you need to really look at what you doing, because your children, you teaching them this is how you supposed to date.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cause okay, if he got about 5 or 6 chicks, his daughter gonna be like, well, I'm cool with being one of them chicks. My daddy did.
Yeah.
Damn, I gotta say, a dude told me this years ago. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Listen, man, your children, you might be the biggest player in the world, but when it happened to your daughter, oh, then it get real.
Oh,
man, I'm gonna kill him. You did it. You forget. Bro, you know, I told the dude, I ain't gonna say his name, but he definitely gonna know. I told the dude, I said, bro, you know your daughter gonna end up with a dude like this, like you. Get what a dude, another homeboy of ours, he was like, man, you told him that? Man, you hard on him. I said, I ain't hard on him. Just him. That's the example he's setting for.
Right.
Because let's be honest, from birth to adolescence, as children, we soaking up what our parents do, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
We like,
Whether they were there or not, whether they were present or not, you're right.
So we like, and it weighs on us as children. Then when we get older, we like, okay, in our subconscious mind, that's what that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody, whether they say it or not, your relationship is built on your subconscious mind frame, how you view your parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to this, I want somebody to prove me wrong. I could be wrong, but just prove it.
No, you're right. I mean, just speaking personally, like, so my parents worked a lot. My parents got married 1 year after I was born, and they're still together to this day. But my dad worked 2 jobs. I saw my dad on Sundays. So my perception of my father was the man's supposed to go to work. So for my first couple years of my marriage, that's what I was doing. But on the flip side of that, I think back to the things that I missed, or my dad missed, me coming up through Tyna and, playing basketball, running track, things of that nature, that I'm looking in the stands and everybody else got their dad up there and my dad at work. So going into fatherhood, when my kids get to the age of they want to be involved in things, now I'm in mindset, I'm not missing nothing. So if I got to cancel X, Y, and Z, so man, my son got the brain and started playing basketball. Like, I had to turn off coach mode, because now I want to go up in the stands and I want to be that daddy. I want to be that guy hollering. So what you're saying is 100% on. Like, we form those standards, those qualities, whether they present or not. But it comes from our parents. It comes from my parents first and foremost.
Yeah, man. We got an uphill battle, man. It's just
definitely.
Cause honestly, like you alluded to your earlier point, men, if you ain't in your son's or your daughter's life, don't be mad when they get raised by an entertainer.
Yeah. or the guy in the neighborhood.
The OG, when you leaving your children to a gang member, OG, entertainer, or even a pimp or a player. Mm-hmm. That what we doing?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what bothers me is parents that have experienced that life. You have kids, and you don't break the cycle. You don't help break the curse. And that's one of my struggles as an educator and as a coach, helping kids realize that is a curse. That is a generational curse, and they have an opportunity to break it. But it is more difficult for them. But it's frustrating to have those parents out there that know how hard it is going through that lifestyle, and are not driven enough to help your kid change.
So let me ask you this. I'm with you on that, but I got to ask this. Is the parent themselves still engaged in that lifestyle? At this, like the ones that frustrate you, are they still engaged in that lifestyle?
No.
Okay. So yeah. This is what happens. If I think it's cool, I'm not me personally, but I'm speaking.
I'm with you.
If they think it's cool, they teach okay, I'm a thug or I'm an OG. You gonna throw up the set at 2 or 3. I'm who you look up to. I'm so brainwashed. I'm brainwashing you to be even worse than I was.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a shooter, you gonna be a super shooter.
Yeah, right.
So if I'm on my way to the penitentiary, you on your way to the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what people get mad about is you have a excellent frustration. we are supposed to be frustrated with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, bruh, we got to also understand what his daddy went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, his daddy probably didn't have a dad, and he got caught up in it. And then you like the cycle, and a lot of kids, a lot of children, they get angry with their parents. And I even tell children, I'm like, do you know what your parents went through?
Right.
A lot of times they ain't really thinking about it because they caught up in where they at.
Mm-hmm.
So before you push that on your child, do a self-assessment.
Mm.
If you in a game, if that's what you signed up for, do you.
Mm-hmm.
But understand, count the cost up.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could cost you your whole family.
You could.
And even if you there, you an OG, you run around here throwing the flag, you sending people on diamond missions. Hey, you reap what you sow. Some people call it karma. I say you reap what you sow.
You do. And you know, and that's it's funny you say that, man, because like I said, my parents worked all the time. So I was the kid in the neighborhood trying to find somebody or something to do. I think where we lost it is those OGs, those old heads in the community that can pinpoint like, okay, you got something on you that you could do a little bit more than what's going on in the streets. So I had a few of those guys. I mean, I of course I did dumb stuff just like we all did when we was younger, but having those guys, I think we missing those guys in the streets.
Yeah,
in the neighborhood.
You right, because back when we was coming up, you had dudes to say, hey, bro, this ain't for you.
Right.
Go on home, man.
Right.
This ain't for you.
Right.
Now the dudes, for the most part, I don't know, maybe it might be one or two, but now they ain't saying go home. They saying, come here. Did what you want to do. Come here.
Yeah.
You want to be a killer? I'm gonna give you this pistol. You want to sell dope? I'm gonna give you this pack.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that a lot of parents, and I hope that I honestly hope this is the case. A lot of parents don't know you don't know what your kid doing for real. Like you don't know what your kid is doing for real when they outside your house. We all pray to God when our kids leave, they come back just like they left out. But you don't know what your kid is involved in, and that's frustrating. I mean, I'm talking about kids from 2-parent homes, husband, wife, all that. Like our kids are subjected and are around so much more than what we were at that age. You really have to be prayed up and cautious about, or at least knowledgeable about what's going on, man, because our kids are involved in a lot of stuff, and they got access to a lot of stuff. So I tell people all the time, if it wasn't for guys telling me like, nah, you need to go over there, like I wouldn't be right here talking to you. I know I wouldn't. I'll just say that. I know I wouldn't be right here talking to you.
So let me ask you this, because this is a question.
Mm-hmm.
At what age how early is too early to get a phone? Because I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay. If I'm being realistic,
a phone with the internet, a smartphone.
If I'm being realistic, I would say now, middle school. I would say 11, 12 years old, 13 years old. It's probably too soon, but I'm just thinking about my daughter. My daughter knows a lot more than what she should know at this age. She knows a lot more than what I knew at this age, and it's simply because of that phone and the internet. And I grew up a lot differently around more people than what she has. I grew up in Shepherd. She growing up in Red Bank. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I would say middle school age with the phone. is probably too soon. Probably too soon with the access that they got now.
Because what age would you say is appropriate?
Man, my kids gonna kill me if they see this interview. I would say 16, 17. Look, you showed up on cue. Can I bring baby girl? She just walked in.
Cool.
Say hello to Mr. Rose.
Hi.
How you doing?
This is my daughter Kai. All right. Do you think you should have waited till you was 16 to get a phone?
No.
Why not?
Because by the time I hit middle school, I'm going to need a way to contact you.
But you don't contact me. You don't even call me.
Okay, so what happens if the school phones run out and I don't have nothing? What I'm going to do?
See, this is another thing. They know how to create the answer you want to hear. This girl don't call me. She don't use that phone to call me. But okay, so bye. We talk.
Okay.
So
I would say 16, my brother. 16, 17, to where they are intelligent enough to understand right and wrong, what they should be looking at, what they shouldn't be looking at. Because I think those formative middle school years, man, those are crucial. So I would, in hindsight, I would have did it differently than what I did with mine.
I mean, I'm in agreement too. I have a 15-year-old. She has a phone, and I'm gonna be real.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother gave her a phone, and see,
Okay.
I'm dealing with a whole different dynamic. My daughter, and I tell dudes this: have children by your wife.
Yes,
Don't cause look, I'm speaking from experience. When
Yes,
you
sir.
have children outside your home, it makes things a whole lot difficult. And that's just
You're
real.
right. You're right.
Another thing people got to understand, and this is just a suggestion, you don't have to do it, but before you put that phone in your child's hand, preparation is key.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just putting it in their hand, they have access to, even if you put a parental lock,
Mm-hmm.
let's be for real. These children are smart enough, or they know somebody, I can bypass that.
Yep. So it's funny thing you say that. I just caught. So when you talking about having kids with your wife, that's a whole nother conversation, because you and your wife gonna be raised differently. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got different parenting styles. Because again, the way my parents raised me, the way her parents raised her, different. So the way we discipline is gonna be different. So my wife takes phones every night. My 17-year-old son is totally frustrated because all his friends get to stay on the phone to 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and he got to turn his phone in 10 o'clock at night on a school night.
Yeah.
So to get them phones, man, and you go through them and you see some of the things that they looking at, and you like, man, yeah. So you're right. That's why I said 16, 17 years old, because I probably could have formed it a little bit better, what you should be looking at and all that kind of stuff. Because those parental controls, yeah, right. Yeah, like, come on, man. Them things ain't doing nothing.
Cause think about this. At 13, let's be for real. At 13, that's when you get your promiscuous mind start going 11, 12,
Yep.
13.
Yep.
You're like, hold up.
Yeah.
And then you getting to figure things out, and you still trying to tap into who you even want to be.
Right.
So then you get somebody give you a phone.
Yeah.
Man. And we wonder why we at where we at.
Yeah.
And you got every app known to man: Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that, what I did was I made sure, and even my basketball boys, sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. For the most part, they like it. I make sure we friends on there. I'm following everything you're doing. I'm following it. Like, and so with my children, with the basketball boys, other kids that I got a relationship with at school or in the city, like I'm following it. And when you post something crazy, or like on something crazy, like I'm gonna say something. Like that ain't finna be tolerated. So you got to be mindful. Like especially, man, you got kids losing scholarships on what they posting on social media. So yeah, so you're right, man. You're right. But that's what I did to combat that, man. Like I'm following everything. I'm following everything. You got to share your location with me at all times when you leave this house. So I mean that's really the only avenues, and then praying that they don't get into something you don't want them in.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because at 13, I know what I was doing in Shepherd, and I didn't have a phone. Yeah.
So, and this another thing, going back to the young lady and the young man who be on the phone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you could be on the phone with your person you like, cause let me say this. I'm old school. I teach my daughter, you date to get married. Because think about this. Young men, young women. If you liking somebody, I don't know no other way to put it. If you like a man who liking a young man who liking a young woman at that age, they mind on one thing. They ain't on taking care of you. They ain't got to take care of you. You at home with your people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get what's in between your legs. That's all these young dudes thinking.
That's it.
And some young women, how can I give him what's in between my legs?
Mm-hmm.
If you got I speak on marriage because to get what's between the opposite sex legs, especially men, your life is required if you're going to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You're
right. You're right.
If you're going to do it the right way.
Uh-huh.
Because young women, I got to tell y'all this. I'm telling you this from a man's perspective. The minute that he get in your pants, he do not look at you the same way he did before he got it. I got to keep it real.
You do. And I wish you could be involved in some of my conversation with the kids, man. Like that's totally 100. That's totally 100. And that's the only way I know to be with them. We had those conversations. So yeah, but you'll be amazed about, but you probably won't be because you're involved in the community as well with young people. But some people will be amazed that, they really feel like giving themselves away is the way to keep them, is the way to make him like me, is the way, like, come on.
But you know what's crazy, man? We talking about young people. Listen, I know 25, 35-year-old women who still think that way.
Yeah.
And so no wonder. See, these 25, 35-year-old women, they got children in middle school. Mm-hmm. If they 35, they probably got a child going to middle school or in middle school.
Yeah.
So if mama thinking like that, and I see mama acting like that, how you gonna trip on me, Mr. Brown? I see my mama acting like that.
You're right.
That's what I'm shown every day.
Right.
You see my mama when she come up to the school.
Yeah.
If my daddy got that pistol when he pull up, he got that thing. He known for slanging that iron. Come on, man. Hey, man, at least I'm in here shooting ball. That's how they looking at it.
Right.
Man, look, man, I'm staying out the way, man.
Yeah.
My dad had been in the joint 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we up against.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. One of the things that used to frustrate me was, maybe I shouldn't say this.
Be careful. You ain't got to say if you don't want to. I always like to throw the disclaimer out there because.
So I'll say it like this. It used to frustrate me that some parents accept things that I wouldn't accept as a parent. We are realistic about you know your daughter, I know my kids. Like we know what they do and what they don't do. All right. So if I'm trying to impress upon somebody else's child my viewpoint on you shouldn't use drugs. I'm just gonna use that. You shouldn't use drugs. And then they go home and they get to use drugs at the house.
Yeah.
it takes every piece of validity that I'm trying to offer.
It's out the window.
It's out the window. So sometimes you got to give up fights like that when you're trying to help. And that's one of my frustrations. Like, and again, me and EJ talk about this all the time. Like, you can't save them all. You can't save them all. So when you're trying to say, hey man, don't do X, Y, and Z, but you get to do X, Y, and Z at your house, or hey man, stop cussing so much. And I get to talk crazy to my mama, like that just it blows my mind. So like I can think about, so since I said cussing. So my one day at practice, my mom comes to practice. And
your mom.
My mom comes to our basketball practice. And I'm engaged, I'm practicing, she off to the side, and I say, damn. I just say damn.
That's all you say.
That's all I said. My mom, and I'm 39 at the time. I'm 42 now. I'm 39 years old at the time. She comes stop practice, bro, and smacks me in my mouth in front of the boys. You're not gonna talk like that. You're not gonna talk like that around me. You're not gonna talk like that to these kids. I said, Mama, I just said, damn. Smack me again. Like, you're not gonna talk like that. So the boys see that, like, well, I get to say damn, at my house, what I'm saying? I get to, what I'm saying? So now I'm trying to, like, everybody's different, man. Like, it's time and place for that kind of stuff. But, them seeing that out of me and then have to translate that to their home life, like, I'm hoping I'm making that kind of impact. So we start going back to what I said earlier, breaking that curse. Like, some of this stuff ain't good in the street. Like, you can't, you don't want to go to your doctor and he, doing all X, Y, and Z, because he had to break the cycle sometime. He had to do something different. So yeah, man, like that's frustrating when you're trying to show them something different, and then the outside world got a stronger hold than what you got.
One thing I always try to give people, and I tell them, just because you're doing it for a long time don't mean that it's beneficial. Because when you say the right way, your way, and that's why, right. Is it beneficial for you to do it the way you're doing it?
Right.
Because even if they don't agree, that'll put something on their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right.
So what you want to lead the people with, man, it's been a great conversation, man, because sometimes I always like to do it to where, okay, we're going to talk about the sports. We're going to talk about what you involved in, but then it's time just to have a real conversation because let's be honest, the way we program, we struggling out here.
We are.
That's why the Most High put it on my heart to start the Deprogram Show. Let's have the conversation. We don't have to agree, but just think about what's being said. Because if you that parent who smoke with your kids, look at the effect. They can't go get no job. You can't keep a job, or you gotta hide, or you gotta go get somebody else urine. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey man, hey, look here. You saying a whole bunch of stuff that if I could unzip.
I mean, you ain't gotta say it. Like, listen, man, I'm gonna say this. See, I like this position because I ain't in the position right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm cool if I don't get in, and I ain't in the position right now to where I can really lose too much.
Right.
Because I'm going to speak my mind. Listen, I know dudes, hey, bro, hey, man, can I pay you $200-$300 to use some of your urine? Just stop smoking. Stop doing what you're doing, bro. I'm not giving you no urine for no money, man. Get out of my face. Man, you lame. I'll be that. Clean your urine up and you could be lame and you ain't got to spend that $200-$300. Come on, man, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you on the front end or gonna cost you on the back end.
Right. So first off, let me thank you, man. Let me thank you for providing a platform and doing what you do. Like I said, I watched several episodes and I could see the growth even from when you started, man. You really doing a good job, and this is a great platform to do that, to deprogram and have these crucial conversations. So let me first thank you for that.
Man, I appreciate it.
Secondly, if I'm leaving some, I definitely if any of my kids are watching, and I'm talking about my branded kids or other kids in the community, just know what we always talk about walking right. Continue to attempt to walk right. I try not to get too religious with them, but they know where I stand on that. So just know that we continue to pour and try to water that bamboo and see growth out of it, no matter how long that takes. Just know we here for the long haul, forever. That ball will stop bouncing, just like we alluded to earlier. So what are you gonna do when that ball stop bouncing? To my coaching buddies, my coaching compadres, let's continue to grind it out. Let's continue to to do the right work. You name some great guys, with Gary, with Mark, man. We got some really good, solid guys around our kids in the community, man. And I just think we need to continue to support each other.
Absolutely.
Continue to support them. I'm often criticized because people know, I love my guy EJ, I love my guy Cook, I love my guy Price, I love Gary Long. Me and Gary Long was teammates for a year in high school. But when we playing for them 32 minutes, I'm trying to bust their head, they trying to bust my head. But outside of that, we gotta support each other because it's about Chattanooga. It's about Chattanooga basketball, it's about Chattanooga sports. So I would say, let's continue to grow. Let's continue to support each other, man. Let's continue to make Chattanooga what it should be.
No problem.
Again, I appreciate you, my brother.
Hey, man, I think it's an idea just dawned on me. I think this would be a perfect way to end the show.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the bamboo.
Yes, sir.
So let's leave the people with the illustration on the bamboo and how to grow it. And that way it can kind of instill, no matter where you at, you could be part of the bamboo and you could grow in whatever area you is.
Right. So the bamboo, that started around the time when we did the We Over Me. It's actually a book, Water the Bamboo. I believe Cook read it first, Stephen Cook. He brought it to us and we talked about it. We got a group of freshmen in that Duke, Denver, that whole group. Water the Bamboo is about a bamboo person who is planting a bamboo tree. They water this seed every day for 4 years without seeing any growth. All right. So imagine yourself just continuing to pour, trying to instill things into something without seeing any growth at all. And then in that 4th year, the bamboo blossoms. It becomes what it's supposed to become. So that's the mantra that we take, man. Just keep pouring, because one day you're gonna go outside and that tree gonna be big, beautiful, blossoming, and sprouting out, growing other trees, dropping seeds. So that's what it was about. Watering the bamboo, continue to pour every day, regardless on where you at in the growth process. Continue to water in that tree. That's what it was.
Man, I appreciate you, man. This is RMJR. I got my boy, Coach Levar Brown, and this is the Deprogram Show, and we out.
I appreciate you.